So did you really think Brad Holmes was going to say, yeah, we're going to trade for Trey Hendrickson? Come on.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions right here. Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day on a Tuesday, August 19th into Wednesday, August 20th. Thanks for making us your first listen. And, of course, checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Shout out and thank you to all the everyday listeners out there, the everydayers, we call them, that check out the show daily. We're going to have a call of the day tomorrow. I expect you guys and girls to flood our SpeakPipe voicemail system right here, right now. I want a good call of the day for tomorrow. SpeakPipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. Leave us a voicemail. We're going to have a call of the day tomorrow. Also tomorrow, you're going to be able to see my field goal attempt from the field at Ford Field Saturday night after the Lions game, where I got down on the field and attempted a 20-yard field goal. I will show you said video tomorrow and share that with you right here on Locked On Lions. The great Ian Eagle, the Birdman from CBS, is going to join us momentarily today. Talk all things Detroit Lions. Of course, Ian, the voice of the NFL on CBS, the number 2 play-by-play man behind Jim Nantz. He's the voice of the Final Four now, does the Brooklyn Nets, NBA on TNT and Amazon. Ian is everywhere. And of course, a WAER alum. So we'll have Ian on coming up momentarily. Locked On Lions today is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, of course, our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Couple of notes from today's practice. The Lions will take tomorrow off. They'll be back at it in pads for a joint practice on Thursday against the Houston Texans, and then play the final preseason game Saturday at 1 o'clock at Ford Field against those same Houston Texans as DeMeco Ryans and company come to town to face Dan Campbell's team. All right, couple of notes from today. Let's start with the interview that Brad Holmes did yesterday with Kay Adams on her podcast. She's very popular, did a good job. She's great and really getting to the nitty gritty with some players and coaches and front office people, because she is she's extremely, I would say conversational when it comes to her interview. She does a good job. And Kay Adams was kind of asking Brad Holmes, hey, how about a 17 sack guy? Would you be interested in somebody that had back-to-back 17 sack seasons? Not saying Trey Hendrickson's name, but kind of intimating that would you be interested in something like that? And Brad kind of just shook his head, said, we got one of our own, talking about Hendon Hutchinson. And then that was it. All right. So I know there's a lot of speculation on sports radio. I know there's a lot of speculation on the internet. How many times do I have to tell you on this show? The Lions are not, NOT, in bold print and in all caps, not trading for Trey Hendrickson. They haven't even signed their own guy, Hendon Hutchinson, to a long-term deal. He's going to be commanding over $30 million a year. So's Trey Hendrickson. The Lions aren't going to swim in that pool. They're just not. Should Brad Holmes want Trey Hendrickson? Of course. Who wouldn't want the NFL leader in sacks, a guy that with the Bengals, they're having issues with a contract. Of course, the Lions would be interested. But from a cap standpoint, from a realistic standpoint, when you've got other players on your own team that you've got to re-up in the next coming year, a few years, there's not going to be a scenario where Brad Holmes does this. It's the same thing where people say, oh, Jameson Williams, he's definitely signing back. That's going to be very hard to do if he's going to want $30 million plus for a receiver, something you're already paying Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't bring up Hendrickson that much because I don't see it happening. So that was Brad Holmes' reaction on the Kay Adams podcast yesterday. You can find it all over social media. I'm not even going to play the audio because I'm not going to waste my time. 2 other notes from today's practice today in Allen Park. I just said today twice. Mekhi Wingo is off the physically unable to perform list and practiced today. I'm a Wingo fan. I think he can help the interior of the defensive line. I think he's a good rotational piece and a guy as a rookie last year that flashed at times, and I think he's going to get better. So I love the fact that a guy that has not been practicing for weeks and has been out injured, coming back from surgery last year, Mekhi Wingo back with the team. I think that's great. That's a huge depth piece that I don't think we talk about enough. That's number one from practice today. Number two, guess who had a good practice today? Hendon Hooker. Yes, Hendon Hooker led the second team offense against the first team offense or first team defense and got in the end zone today. Hendon Hooker had a bounce back practice today. Now, I know what you're all going to say. Well, I didn't see it with 47,000 people in the stands on Saturday. We all saw how poor he played. But he bounced back today with a good practice. What that means for his future, I don't know. I still believe Kyle Allen's going to be the backup, and I still believe they're going to carry Hendon on the roster. But today, at least, he showed some signs and led the second team offense against the first team defense and led him down the field for a touchdown. So good stuff today from Hendon Hooker. Hitting Jacoby Keeney James, who beat Amik Robertson on a slant for a touchdown today. Yes, a bounce back practice for Hendon Hooker. All right, coming up next, one of the best play-by-play guys, maybe the best in all of sports, Ian Eagle, is going to join the podcast. We'll talk to the Birdman here next on Locked On Lions. Firstly, though, we got to tell you about our friends at FanDuel. August 26th is coming up. It's a week away, and it's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP shot, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on your MVP race. What about Jahmyr Gibbs, man? He's going to have a big year for the Lions. If he's your pick for MVP, take a flyer on him. Or parlay maybe your division winner dark horses. Some people really like Seattle to win the NFC West. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. But as promised, here he is, folks. NFL on CBS. Summer of Ian is almost done. Ian Eagle with us, noted play-by-play man for CBS, noted TikTok scroller. What's going on your phone these days? What are we watching?
My phone it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
No?
I've tried to get off it. I've talked to people. I've had sessions with professionals, and I just can't shake it. It's an addiction.
Like Jet 2 holiday, is that coming up on the TikTok or?
I've seen it all. I truly have tried to pull back. I want to read a book. You know, it's nice to grow your brain a bit. So summer months, I have tried to maybe not engage quite to the level, but man, you get rolling and you start scrolling, you could be there for hours. You can go down rabbit holes, as we all know.
Yeah. Well, how you been? So what's going on? You getting ready? You're doing Jets now, then we're getting ready for the season. But how are you feeling about this 2025 NFL campaign?
Feeling very excited as usual, because every year there seems to be a whole new set of storylines. And while opinions may shift and change based on the previous year, we all know nothing. You have very strong feelings on certain subjects, and then you realize very quickly, oh wow, I didn't read that one right, or I didn't expect that. Nobody could have possibly expected Washington to make the kind of run that they made last year and to have the level of success that they had. When you have a rookie quarterback, you truly have no idea how they will play at the next level. And teams that find that rookie and now can capitalize on it, you can go on a 10 or 12 year run if you've got the right guy at that position. We're seeing it right now with the Kansas City Chiefs. We forget that Patrick Mahomes sat for a year behind Alex Smith when the Chiefs were still very successful with Andy Reid, introducing his style, but they went to the next level when Mahomes got the job in year 2. And now as we look back on it, we realize this has been one of the great runs. Does it continue? Are the Bills ready to step forward and actually grab the mantle and be a Super Bowl team? Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl last year. I worked a radio game against the Los Angeles Rams in the divisional round that if Matthew Stafford gets them into the end zone on a snowy evening in Philadelphia, the Rams win that game, move on, and who knows what the Super Bowl looks like. But Philadelphia won, and the details, they start to fade. So is Detroit ready? A year ago, you and I were on this very program talking about the success that is now expected when you win. No longer are you a nice story. No longer is it a novelty. No longer are people just rooting you on. There's an expectation that comes with success. And obviously that's where the Lions fit in now.
And you wore your Lions hoodie for us today. Appreciate that.
Look, I'm a part of hoodie culture. I've accepted that even older people can pull off a hoodie if it's the right tone and the right material. And it just so happened this was the next one on the laundry bucket.
I love that. I love that. All right, you mentioned the Lions. I think it was Cowherd today. I saw somebody sent me something with the herd hierarchy, top 10. And there's the Eagles. Like you said, he actually had the Lions 10th behind teams like the Rams and the Seahawks. How do you gauge, how do you measure where the Lions are right now? You mentioned last year's disappointing finish, but this was still a football team that won 15 football games last year.
Yeah, I'm still Team Detroit. I still believe this team can compete with anybody. I don't think the one playoff game changes my opinion on whether or not this is one of the premier teams in the NFC. The questions will now be based on what you do in the postseason. That means you've gotten to a certain level where you're expected to win double-digit games during the regular season, even though you might have a more challenging schedule than you've had previously. That's what the expectation is, and I wouldn't expect anything else. The question, as we know in the NFL, often comes down to, do you win enough games to get home field advantage, or at least put yourself in a position to host multiple playoff games? And then are you playing your best football when it matters most? I was not convinced that Philadelphia was the best team necessarily last year. If anything, I think there were some question marks going into the postseason on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and the fact that it wasn't quite as dynamic maybe as it had been. Their defense was much improved, and that's why it gave you some form of confidence going into the playoffs that Vic Fangio would coach them up and scheme it up, and that's really what happened ultimately. Offensively, Saquon changed their team. They became the dominant running team in the NFL along with the Baltimore Ravens. But it's also the fact that they were playing their best football when it mattered most. And they went on that roll. And in doing so, and the road that they had, you could say, was it the most challenging? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the other part when it comes to sports. As time passes, nobody remembers the details. They just remember the championship.
That you got there. Yeah.
That's how it works. And if you're Detroit, putting last year in the rearview mirror, I still see a high-level offense and one that should be among the best in the NFL. You know, I see a defense that has major playmakers at every level, still like their secondary a lot, obviously getting healthier. And the hope is that that's going to maybe change things come playoff time, where you can get some legitimate pressure on the quarterback and swing a game on a strip sack or a huge stop when you need it most to end a drive. These little things along the way that can change a season and can change football history.
Ian Eagle with us, NFL on CBS. Of course, the voice of the Final Four on CBS, Westwood One. NBA on Amazon, which we will get to in a second. You mentioned before the secondary, great segue, DJ Reed, who you saw a lot with the Jets.
Yep.
Lions fans didn't see a ton of Jets football last couple of years because they haven't been very good. But Reed an upgrade from Carlton Davis in your mind? Is
Yeah.
this the shutdown number one corner that the Lions have now?
Feisty, really feisty. I think he and Sauce complemented each other well with the Jets. I think he's someone that plays with a chip on his shoulder, always has. He's a good guy. He's a likable guy. So from a locker room standpoint, you're getting someone with the right personality that will buy in and will be a part of it as opposed to separating himself. It's a great question. I personally think it's an upgrade, but you got to prove it on the field. Those two safeties are tremendous. You'd like to maybe knock the penalties down a tad, but I just see that as a strength. I still believe this is a strength of this defense. And then obviously, if they can complement it with the pass rush, now you're looking at maybe having a unit that can do some things on its own and in given situations win you a game or two.
How's our man AG doing up there in New York?
He's been great. He's been great. I think he has a certain presence about him that I'm sure Lions fans are familiar with, that is real and authentic, and it's true to who he is. This guy is 5'8", went to 3 Pro Bowls in the NFL playing a tough position, cornerback, and that's not lost on me personally. I see someone that is tough as nails and expects toughness from his players and will hold them accountable, will look them in the eye and tell them exactly what it is he needs from them or what his issue might be. And while the assumption from many is that, oh yeah, well, that's how it is everywhere. It isn't. It isn't that way everywhere. It should be, but it isn't. It's a personality thing. And I do think he's got incredibly high standards. I don't think this happens overnight, and there will be a lot of frustrations along the way, but I don't think they'll lose games based on a lack of effort. And I think the coaching part of it is going to come with time. He talked at great length. We've had a couple production meetings with him already. The relationship with Dan Campbell and the conversations they would have, the very honest conversations they would have, game management being one of them, Saturday sessions where they would go in early and just break down every possibility, every scenario that you could come up with, and what would you do? And we know Dan can be a riverboat gambler, and that's part of his charm and part of probably what got him to where he is. I don't know about Aaron yet. We don't know in those situations if he's a risk taker, if he plays it more by the book, how he's going to handle situations. So the day-to-day coaching, that's a blank page as far as a head coach, but he was pretty detailed in how he felt as a DB coach, his guys in that room and the connection that he had. And then he thought he was going to lose a bit of that when he became the DC, and then realized, well, wait a second, I got more guys and it's my group. And now as a head coach, he's got to balance how you handle things, how you process, and then you're the face of the franchise. That's a big deal in the NFL. Just think about it, Matt, compared to when we were growing up. I'm older than you, but you're at least in a general vicinity.
Yes.
These guys didn't do all of these press conferences that were being beamed out to NFL Network or whatever other outlet wants them. Like you gotta face the media a lot in this job. And oftentimes you're the only one from the organization that actually has to face the media. So if something pops up, it's on you.
You bring up a great point about coaching. I don't think it may answer this for me. Everybody's talked about Aaron Glenn leaving, Ben Johnson leaving, and the concern with the coordinators. Do we not talk enough just about how good a head coach Dan Campbell is? Everybody loves talking about the kneecap biting presser from 5 years ago and all the stuff that, he's a fun guy, but are we underrating the fact that this guy's a damn good head football coach?
We shouldn't be. That to me is obvious. We shouldn't be. And head coaching is not just decision-making, as we know. It's how you treat your players, how you get your message across, what kind of vibes you bring every single day to the facility. That word culture, which becomes such a huge word as we know, and culture is great when you're winning. Culture isn't great when you're losing. It's not that simple. Of course, it's how you treat others and I think Dan has done an incredible job on both sides of connecting with players, management, fan base, and then handling games. And maybe because of his personality, some people overlook that part of it. But he's a tremendous head coach by all measures and should be viewed as such.
Ian Eagle with us, of course, NFL on CBS. You already have your schedule, I think, right? The first 3 games?
First 3, yeah.
Jets and Steelers. Oh, my God. You know those teams. You don't have to do any prep for that game.
That is the Bubby Brister Bowl.
Yes.
As we're calling it. Well, when I say me, I'm calling it that.
And you're working with J.J. Watt this year.
Yeah.
All right. That's exciting.
Amazing. Great guy. We can share suits because we're the same size, which is perfect. He's a specimen. It's insane. And he's in tremendous shape now. You know how it works with football players, Matt? It either goes one way or the other usually, which is they get larger or they lose a ton of weight. And while I don't know what his weight is compared to his playing weight, he's still yoked. It's insane, but he's really into it. He already, I can tell the preparation, he loves it. He enjoys that process, and he's got strong opinions. He's got a point of view. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's got an excellent sense of humor. So I think we're also going to have a lot of fun along the way too.
That's awesome. NFC North, how do you view it right now? All teams are good.
Yes.
This division's going to be a slobber knocker. How do you kind of look at it 1 through 4?
Well, I still have, as you know, high hopes for Detroit. I'm not saying it just because I'm locked on Lions for the second straight year. I'm saying it because I believe it. I do think that the Minnesota situation is a bit more questionable than it's been based on the quarterback. Love the head coach. Love the surrounding pieces. The fact that Ben Johnson is now still in the division and just doing it for another franchise, a franchise that so desperately wants to win and so desperately wants to be validated and be in the conversation. Had the Bears pretty late in the season last year where things really started to go sideways. It was coming off the loss to Washington where
the Hail Mary game. Yeah.
Hail Mary game where they had no right to lose. And obviously they lose the game. Now the question, how are they going to handle it? They didn't handle it well. It didn't go well from that point on.
Doesn't usually go well there.
No. Look, you know Ben and his way a lot better than I do. You know, he just seems like a really sharp, smart person. This is going to be a challenge, and whether or not he and Caleb connect and he makes him better, which I think he will, is going to be the key to the Bears' future, and whether or not this team will actually be competitive in this division. And I don't know. I'm not sold on it, at least not yet.
Yeah, it might be early. A lot of people on the bandwagon, though, as you know.
Yep.
All right, so NBA on Amazon. What's going on there? Give us some scoop. Like, what are you? I'm seeing stuff on the internet, but I'm not sure it's real. You know, these games are going to be at 11 o'clock at night on the West Coast, and what's so give us the update. How many games you getting, and how's it going to work?
No, I don't think a whole lot changes other than you're streaming it as opposed to watching it on TNT. It's a similar schedule, bunch of double headers, but the double headers will be Friday night. And then after football season, a bunch of them will shift to Thursday night. So trying to continue the buildup of sports on Amazon on Thursday nights, NFL, and then eventually NBA. The reality for me when it comes to anyone new in the space is initially it's got to look like the NBA and it's got to sound like the NBA. And then fans exhale. And then you can try some things, whatever that might be. And I think there are a lot of really smart people that work at Amazon. And I'm not necessarily saying just on the sports side, but in general, with ideas, with innovations, they're willing to try things. I think, though, credibility is something that has to be established, and that's what you'll see. You'll see the same kind of coverage that you've seen, maybe with some wrinkles here and there, and the sound of it will be what NBA fans have grown accustomed to. Announcers that they know, some new analysts that will get a chance at working games that maybe haven't done it before, but highly accomplished. Someone like Steve Nash, who you're going to see in the studio and you're going to see on games. Dwayne Wade, who my son Noah worked with at the Olympics, you're going to see in the studio. You're going to see on games. Candace Parker, who was doing a similar role with Turner. And then Stan Van Gundy and Brent Barry. These are analysts that you've heard through the years. And they're going to mix and match, which I think is going to be a whole lot of fun. So, no, I don't think it's going to be 11 o'clock East Coast time. It's going to be more similar to what we're accustomed to. But here's the one aspect that they are very much committed to, and that's the international part of it. These games are going international, and the chance to put some teams on with players that are from Europe, different parts of the world, that will be a focal point for them to feature some of those players and make sure that those countries get to see them when it's not necessarily 4 a.m. there. That will 100% be part of the agenda.
All right, man. Well, you're back at your crazy schedule coming up. Hopefully you detox this summer. I hope the summer of Ian was a success. Did you get some rest? Anything?
I did.
Yeah?
I appreciate your concern, Matt. This isn't just you throwing words out there. You care about me as a human being, and that matters.
I do. We check in. I'm not going to get into the new backdrop behind you, and we that's private stuff that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But, this is exciting times for you.
This is always exciting, honestly, going from the end of summer into the routine of the NFL, bring the NBA in, bring college hoops in. I still just have a blast calling these games. And yeah, so I rented an Airbnb for Locked On Lions. Sue me.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. You did have breakfast with our dear friend, Sammy Steinlight. He did tell me that Sammy put some guests on the show once in a while for me. Great dude. And man,
he's a great guy.
Dropping you. I was like, what? Breakfast with the bird? All right.
No, he's the man. Sammy is legit. Great person.
I love it. All right, brother. Well, appreciate the time as always. And hopefully you'll be at Ford Field at some stature this year, whether it's a CBS game or Westwood One. Hopefully we'll see you up there high atop Ford Field.
Yes. Well, I had that Detroit Green Bay game, and we didn't mention the Packers, by the way, in our breakdown of the NFC North. Saw them in the preseason against the Jets, not basing anything on that whatsoever. I hate when people take these games and then form very strong opinions about preseason games because we know how vanilla it is. And you got first teamers against second teamers against third teamers. They limped to the finish line last year. That was my one concern with Green Bay. I think they will be competitive once again, but I don't look at their roster and say to myself, oh man, they're highly improved from a year ago. So they're maybe a work in progress, but certainly a team that's going to be in the mix come playoff time.
Ian Eagle with us on Locked On Lions on this Wednesday or Tuesday edition. Great to see you as always, brother.
You too, bud. All the best, Diesel.
Always great to talk to Ian Eagle, that is for sure. And Locked On Lions today, also brought to you by our friends at the Gametime app. Who's looking for tickets? If you decided last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day, or you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. For the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming Major League Baseball game, and that includes your Detroit Tigers as they are home this week. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, fun show today here on a Tuesday. Ian Eagle was phenomenal. I love the fact that he took us a little bit inside some meetings with Aaron Glenn, because he does Jets preseason TV, and how AG was mentioning just the impact that Dan Campbell had on him, and that he's still using Dan Campbell logic and isms and everything as he approaches head coach in the Jets. So that was great stuff from Ian. All right, Lions are off tomorrow. We are not. We'll be back with a fresh episode, including the special video. Yours truly. Do I get on the kicker list? Find out tomorrow. And I want to call the day tomorrow. A good one. www.speakpipe.com/Derry, DERY podcast page. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it tomorrow.